Hey, before we start, I quickly want to tell you that our mod team on Discord is running some competitions in which you can win the Freljord Silas skin. So if you want to have some fun, or if you want to have a shot at getting the skin, feel free to join us by clicking the link below. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rift News. The show you probably decided to watch because you want to know my opinion on all the news Riot revealed. Well, in essence, Riot didn't reveal too many new things, but that doesn't mean we have nothing to talk about. So as always, let's start with the things you can find on live servers. Patch 10.1 is being unpacked today, which means that set will finally be released. We will finally learn what the set calling card was for, and we are getting 11 new skins, which we haven't actually properly covered yet. So here's what's coming. Set's launch skin is Mecha Kingdom set. For a launch skin, the quality is way over the top. Set is a really simple champion to play and he looks like a human, which, if you don't know, according to Riot statistics, humanoid champions are always more popular than monsters. That's why we have about 11 relatable characters per one Ornn. So in summary, Set is already going to be popular just the way he is. So if you slap this glorious thing on top of it, that's a money printing, well, machine. Another skin in this skin line is Mecha Kingdom's Draven. I have to be honest, I really love this skin line. Way back in the day, my favorite skin used to be Full Metal Jace. And this new skin line is that, but better. There is not much to talk about here. It's a great looking Gundam. Then there is Mecha Kingdom's Garen, which is just a bigger Garen. Other than that, there is not much to talk about here. It's a great looking Gundam. But this one also has a prestige version that isn't white and gold. It's black and gold. Honestly, that's all I need to make it different from the other prestige skins. But we can mark this one as the first prestige skin of 2020. Then we have Mecha Kingdom's Leona. It's a bit similar to Project Leona, but I love how the shield opens up during her W. Other than that, there is not much to talk about here. It's a great looking Gundam. And then there is Mecha Kingdom's Jax. Jax always gets the best skins. It is most likely because he's a popular champion. And once again, I think they managed to top even Godstaff Jax with this one. It even has an emote that counts your kills. It's like a free version of Eternals. Remember? But other than that, there is not much to talk about here. It's a great looking Gundam, with a bit of fire all around. Next we have 3 Dragon Slayer skins. First one is Dragon Slayer Diana. She may look like a normal skin, but her spell effects are a hidden gem. No matter what you do with this skin, it all looks flashy. Another skin is Dragon Slayer Olaf. Honestly, the size of his axis feels like he's compensating for something. Oh, he's compensating for the lack of flashy spell effects. Then again, Olaf doesn't really cast too many spells himself, so you need to make him feel good somehow. The third Dragon Slayer is Trundle. He's called Dragon Slayer, but if you meet him in the Dragon Pit, you may mistake him for a furry cosplaying as Elder Dragon. Then we have Freljord Silas. Besides traditional Gangplank and Captain Fortune, this is the first skin to be ever released as canon reflection of the lore. We already made 2 videos explaining this skin, so there is not much else to say here. Just know that Silas being in Freljord is a thing in the story now. And lastly, we have new additions to the Guardians of the Sand skin line, with the first one being Janna. Although these skins may not look that special at first, just like the Diana skin, their spell effects are amazing. I especially love Janna's Shuriman themed ultimate. Then we have Rengar, also known in the meme world as Khajiit. Just like Janna, Rengar spells are a lot more blue and yellow. And lastly we have Rise, also known as the human Rise knockoff. This one specializes in throwing sand in your eyes. But that was all 11 skins coming your way. Of course, all of them also have chroma versions, with Silas being given away by creators in the League Partner Program. But since all of this is tied to Lunar Revel event, you should also expect a bunch of icons, emotes and a ward. As a nice bonus, the Split 1 emote was revealed to be a Philios. Before we leave the live servers, we should also mention Thresh's new visual effects. All of his abilities were cleaned up, so he looks much smoother and spookier. You can even see tiny souls levitating around his head. But a big addition to the clarity of his abilities is a new indicator on his E. His E will also display the invisible circle hitbox around Thresh, because his E was never just a rectangle. The hitbox was also wider around him. And that is it for live servers. Now normally I would be like, let's have a look at what is happening on PBE. But truth be told, there's nothing on PBE right now. They are just testing new champions on Earth, which means that yes, expect Earth on live servers now. The other thing also floating around PBE is a mini rework for Wukong. So here's what's happening to him. Wukong will now get a new passive. Whenever he leaves a bush or he comes out of stealth, he gains a shield that blocks physical damage. The passive is still called Stone Skin, even though the last time stone magic was part of his story was in 2017. His Q remained exactly the same, only now it deals more damage and it has a lower cooldown. His W still spawns a clone, only this time the clone spawns with the same animations as the real Wukong, so it will be much harder to tell which one is the real one. On top of that, the clone Wukong spawns will attack nearby enemies, so Wukong is turning into the new Shaco. Also, W now makes Wukong dash further away, but you can't go over thin walls anymore. His E remained the same, only now it deals magic damage even though it still scales with AD. And his ultimate just deals more damage in a shorter time. Wukong was slowly turning into a noodle fight meme, so let's hope these changes will fix him. But that's it for PBE. So now, let's start going through all the preseason news Riot is spewing out. On day 0 of the preseason, we got the Warrior cinematic. We made a full video on it because the cinematic is closely tied to lore. It's not a 100% canon cinematic, but just like the Awakened cinematic, it is reflecting on the present stories of Runeterra. So the events shown here are really happening, but the outcome of the events might be different. For example, Sylas is marching onto Demacia from the north, but once he reaches the borders, we're not sure if Lux really summons Galio. The next day Riot released a video focusing on ranked and gameplay. At the beginning of that video, Riot went over the things which we already knew about, primarily how Rise of the Elements made games more dynamic. Then they explained how you get your rank after your placement games. Because yes, ranked season is open again, so feel free to grind towards gold again. As the video explained, after you play your first ranked game, you will get an artificial rank. As you play more games, your rank will increase with wins, but it won't decrease with losses. Keep in mind that the placement rank the game shows you is the minimum rank you will get. So if you are playing your last placement game and you are Silver 1, that doesn't necessarily mean you will be Silver 1. It only means you can't get anything lower than that. So most likely you will be something around Gold 3. After that they mentioned that we shouldn't expect any big matchmaking changes this year, but we are getting some quality of life improvements. For example, next month they will be telling us more about a system that should reduce the amount of autofills in every game. Next, they talked about the client, which especially throughout the last couple of patches felt really clunky. They didn't say what's happening to the client, but at least we know that they are working on making it better. But then they focused on events. And if you know me, you know that I wasn't too impressed by the latest events Riot gave us. It is always the same thing. You buy a pass, you get tokens from games, you buy loot, and oh, there's a prestige skin. That is it. It seems like Riot also understands that it is not exciting anymore. Or at least I guess they understand. They did say that starting with the Mecha Kingdoms, we will get a special game mode with every event. This doesn't mean new game modes. It just means that we are getting some of the fun things back. For example, Mecha Kingdoms will get all random Earth. So expect things like Doombots or All for One later down the year. But besides that, they didn't say anything. Which makes me worried, because I think they need to start making missions and loot more exciting. All Riot really needs to do is to give some meaning to the missions. Just put them in a better structure with some UI that gives the missions more meaning. As of right now, the Academia event was nice because you felt like you fought for a house you chose. It gave you more meaning because there was a choice. Not the most exciting thing under the sun, but it was a nice step forward. Lastly, the video talked about the one and only Glorious Clash. Finally, after 2 years of testing, Riot feels confident in launching it this year. I know we have heard that before, a lot, but the latest test showed that things are stable now, which we have also heard before. Either way, Clash is officially becoming a part of League of Legends this year, which will give all the competitive players a new way to play. And now we're moving on to day 2 of preseason. This time Riot focused on lore and storytelling. Unfortunately, we didn't learn much here, because Riot already revealed most of their projects during the anniversary, but we still have some cool things to be looking forward to. Ghostcrawler revealed that just like Sylas started a new story in Demacia, CZECH will start a new story in Ionia. And story-wise, if CZECH ends up being anything even close to Sylas, I would be very satisfied. I just wonder what kind of stories can CZECH start, because so far he's a very simple champion. I have a feeling that it will resolve around his missing father. Then, Ghostcrawler finally gave a name to the board game that was teased during the anniversary. It's a 2-player bluffing game called Tellstones. What's cool about this board game is that the game itself exists in the story as well. Different versions of Tellstones are played across Runeterra, and Riot is going to publish a physical Demacian version most likely later this year. Lastly, Ghostcrawler announced Tales of Runeterra, which are shorter animated videos that focus on quick storytelling. We even got a teaser for the first one, which is going to be in Ionia. But during the announcement, we also got some concepts from Freljord, Shadow Isles and Demacia. So the animated series will go all over Runeterra. Next up we have Day 3 with Legends of Runeterra. Unfortunately, here we also didn't learn much new information. Pretty much the only two new things is that Open Beta is up on January 24th, which means that everyone will be able to join and play Legends of Runeterra on that day, and the other thing is that we will be able to buy cool new customizations. Legends of Runeterra limits how many cards you can buy with real money. So because the game actually blocks you from buying too many cards, of course the monetization will go more towards cosmetics. And right now we have two kinds of cosmetics. You can buy new skin for boards, which unlike in Hearthstone, because the boards here are fully 2D, they can be flipped upside down, which means that each opponent can have their own board. And right now the boards are themed around regions. My favorite two are gonna be the Demacian one and the one from Piltover. The other new cosmetic item is a Guardian, which is your little legend but for Legends of Runeterra. Right now we know about 4. We have Poro, with an exclusive Chroma skin which you can get by pre-registering right now. But then we have a Turtle Guardian, T-Hex, which is actually the T-Rex from Heimerdinger's card, and Grump Jr., which is gonna be my favorite. But besides that, that's pretty much it for Day 3. Hello there, it's me from the future. Riot actually revealed a lot more as I was editing this video, so once again I have to jump in without a script to fix everything. So let's have a look at the big things that Riot dropped yesterday. One of the bigger things is the new Fiddlesticks. We already know what he was going to look like. We got a couple of teasers a few months ago, but now we finally got a full reveal on his animations. And let me tell you, Riot nailed the creepy aspect of Fiddlesticks. This champion is pure nightmare. He doesn't only look scary, but everything he does is nightmarish. His animations are anything but fluid. He has these creepy jitters every now and then, which really sells the idea of an uncanny champion. On top of that, Riot also separately showed us the sound effects. The thing is, someone took the sound effects and they merged it with the videos. So now, we actually know what the ultimate will be like. And oh lord, that is some pure horror. But things around Fiddlesticks get quite suspicious for someone who knows the story. Because if you look at his design, you can see all these demonic eyes hidden in the vessel. Now, if you look at Swain, in Swain's art that was shown on Universe, you can see the same demonic eyes hidden under his cloak. That's besides the fact that both champions use black birds, even though one has crows and the other one has ravens. But then again, Swain's birds have 6 eyes. Who's to say that these birds even have a species? But both also use red magic. And red magic is quite unique on Runeterra. In fact, from the top of my head, I can't think of anyone else using red magic. But the most amazing thing about this is that it is entirely possible that Swain's left arm comes from Fiddlesticks. If you look at Fiddle's model, his left hand is missing its forearm, which is the exact part that matches Swain's arm. On top of that, this specific arm never comes back to full form no matter what animations you look at. No matter what Fiddlesticks does, even though he has many demonic arms, this specific left-handed arm never comes back to full form. So the theory of Swain being connected to Fiddlesticks and the theory of Fiddlesticks being the demon locked in the Immortal Bastion suddenly became a lot more suspicious. But let's move on. Next we got some news on Volibear. They listened to our feedback and they decided to make Volibear a lot more savage. Because let's be honest, he did fight Ornn in the past, and he created rivers of blood. But the interesting thing is that Riot knows that we want the horror-themed Volibear. You know, the one shown in the Udyr story. That is the real Volibear canon in the lore. In fact, we have actually not seen the White Bear Volibear in the story yet. At least not physically. So right now, the horror version is the only canon version of Volibear. And here comes the cool part. Because Riot knows that half of the people want the classic Volibear, and half of them want the horror Volibear. They are going to remake Volibear into the White Bear, which was their plan all along, but they are also going to give him a skin themed around the horror. And anyone who owns Volibear will get that skin for free. This way, just like we have Misfortune, where the normal skin is just a past version of Misfortune, while Captain Fortune is her current canon form, we will have Volibear having the traditional skin, with an Eldritch skin being the current canon form. I wish they did it the other way around, where the horror Eldritch skin would be the classic skin, with the traditional version of him being the extra skin, but this way of dealing with it works as well. So I'm pretty happy with what they are doing with Volibear. Then Riot also mentioned that just like they released Kai'Sa and Senna, two champions which we knew about from the stories before they were even hinted at, in 2020 they will do a lot more of that, which means that a lot of side characters will be turned into champions. Now I want to make a separate video about that, so here is just a super quick list of characters that could become champions. We have the Seal Sister, Rafen, Yasuo's father, not Yone, Yone is dead, the Ruined King, Cytheria, Ledros, Diana Crown Guard, Arjen, the Arbormark Mage, and Vrina. There is a lot of cool side characters, I just wanna see which one they pick. And lastly, we have teasers for two new champions. Both champions should be part of the summer event this year. And here's the teasers that we got. One of them had a lot of blossom puns around, so it's probably going to be based on flowers, Ionia, stuff like that. What's cool is that in the teaser image, if you look at the bottom, you can see some swords pinned in the ground. These swords match the ancient Ionian legend about the Titans, which is something we actually don't know anything about. We just know that in the past, in Ionia there were Titans at war. That's literally all we know. So it would be cool if one of the champions were connected to that. The other one is a masked champion that refuses to die. They also hinted that it is a demon, specifically a demon from the past, which could mean anything at this point. If by demons they mean Darkin, which by the way they are not the same thing, they could be talking about the sister that Varus was talking about in the past. But besides that, we don't know about a lot of new demons. Demons can have any form and they can be anywhere. The only unexplained demon is the one in the Immortal Bastion, which I suspect is actually Fiddlesticks now. But other than that, all the other demons were explained. Vayne's parents were killed by Evelyn, and the other horrors in Demacia where Nocturnes work. Other than that, we actually have no idea what other demons there could be. But with that said, that's all the new bonus things. So now, let's go back to the rest of the video. And this takes us to the last piece of news for today, which is Day 4 and Teamfight Tactics. Once again, Riot used all their aces during the anniversary, so we didn't learn anything major. Riot Mort revealed that they don't want RNG to be part of the game, like it was with the old Hextech or Phantom. Also, they revealed that TFT sets will cycle much faster than we thought. Right now, their plan is to release a new set every 4 months or so, with the TFT Set 3 being scheduled for release mid-March, with a temporary title, Out of This World. And it is majorly based on skin lines from space. So Set 3 will contain champions from Project, Star Guardian, Odyssey and Pulsefire. On top of that, the middle of March will also see the release of TFT on mobile phones, which is something that will surely ruin everyone's sleep schedule. But that is it for this episode of Rift News. To close this video, let me share a small theory of mine. In the past, Riot had the themes of TFT and Summoner's Rift connected, so that when Season 10 started with new Elemental Drakes and the title Rise of the Elements, TFT also got a new set under the same name, Rise of the Elements. This made me wonder if they can affect each other the other way as well. So that if TFT gets a new set called Out of This World, will Summoner's Rift also get an update called Out of This World? Because if that's the case, then we might get a Void update on our hands in March as well. Hey, did you know that we have social media and Twitch where we talk about other League facts and stories? And did you know that we have Need mugs and shirts too? The links to all of that will be below. And as always, thank you, come again.